This is the Decahedron Podcast with Joe.
This is Joe doing a solo. It's a Joe solo. We call it a Jolo. Jolo!
Hey everyone, this is Joe. I'm traveling this week, a little family travel. I'm in the great state of Rhode Island, and that means I can't record with James this week. So this is another Jolo episode, and this is probably going to be the last of the Monday episodes. Let me explain a little bit what I mean by that. When I started this podcast, it was intended to be a once-a-week short-form podcast. As we got feedback coming in, we wanted to respond to that feedback, but we still wanted to produce the original content. And so it kind of became a twice-a-week show. The normal Wednesday episode was the content, and the Monday episode was the feedback. I've been afraid of oversaturating the audience with too much content. So I want to go back to the original Wednesday-only concept and correct my thinking a little bit, because my thinking before was that our responding to feedback was not content, and I think it is. When I listen to a podcast, that is something I really like. I like it when they get feedback in, and I like it when they respond to it. And podcasts that don't accept feedback, they are lesser in my enjoyment, the ones that do. So I'm going to stop treating feedback differently, and feedback episodes will just be in place of a normal episode type thing. That's my idea. If you really, really want more content, the twice a week thing, or maybe even 3 times a week. I don't think I have the bandwidth for 3 times a week. Twice a week. Go ahead. Let me know. Send me some feedback. And if I hear enough of an outpour, I can definitely talk enough to do it. All right. In this episode, speaking of feedback, I'm going to respond to the feedback from my last solo episode, Jolo number 1. And the first feedback I have is a voicemail from Kevin at the Red Caps podcast. Let's listen to Kevin.
Hey, it's Kevin calling in from the Red Caps podcast. Just finished listening to the Trek alignment episode. I don't know if I agree with it completely, because I think Klingons would probably lean closer to law than chaos, because they've got a strict code of honor that they follow. But regardless, the idea of it is what I kind of like, is the idea of you having a outside of the game canon for you to be able to keep things consistent. So as long as it's consistent and you have an idea of where things are going from, I think it's very cool to have that outside influence guiding how you're making the choices in the fantasy world. So that's really cool. And I like the little play on the name. That's really well done as well. Anyhow, I'm going to back and listen to a few more episodes. I'm just getting caught up on a huge backlog of podcasts, but wanted to say hi and keep up the great work. Take care.
Well, hi, Kevin. Thank you very much for that feedback. If you had listened to the previous episode that we talked about alignments in general, one of the things that came up is that chaos is in the eyes of the beholder, so to speak. Evil is in the eye of the beholder. And so the names of law and chaos are from the human side of the equation, where the characters live all the time. Of course, the orcs think that they're the right ones and that the other side is chaos, is chaotic. And to a Klingon living the way of the warrior, they would definitely think the Federation is chaotic. But like Riker's experience, when Riker goes over to serve on the Klingon ship, he finds them to be very chaotic. So, like I say, chaos is in the eye of the beholder. But I agree with you that if I were looking at it from a neutral observer, I would say that the Klingons are definitely lawful. There you have it. Again, thanks for listening. Thanks for the feedback. And that's just where my headspace was. I've been listening to your podcast a little bit. I like it. James likes it a lot. He talks about it all the time. So anyway, let's get to the next feedback. The next feedback I have is an email from Sam, and it's very short. Sam said that he enjoyed my Jolo song. Thanks, Sam. Yeah, the song was originally intended to be kind of self-deprecated parody of myself. There's another podcast out there, Jason's Nerd RPG Variety Podcast. I think I got the name right. Anyway, he has an awesome opening and closing song, and I felt kind of bad that I didn't have one. Well, I have the music I play from Kevin MacLeod, which is great music, but Jason has this really cool kind of bluegrass tune that's really original, and it's really about the podcast. It's kind of awesome. So I was a little jealous, and I decided to mock myself a little bit for not having one by making a really horrible one. James did not get that it was supposed to be campy, and he just said, "Oh, that's horrible. Why are you doing that?" And I had explained humor to him. Anyway, Sam continues, your story reminded me of the Yangs and Coms episode from the original series. Okay, Sam, that's interesting. That episode is called The Omega Glory. It's considered one of the worst episodes of Star Trek, the original series. It's okay. Yeah, I can see that. That was not actually my inspiration for it. My inspiration was a different episode, which is called A Private Little War. What's interesting about Private Little War is one of the few Trek episodes that the soapbox behind the episode actually kind of seems to be supporting the U.S. involvement in Vietnam, which I found interesting. It's different from most of the rest. In A Private Little War, the situation you have is that Kirk goes down to this planet, and the planet is kind of factionalized, and he finds that the Klingons are technologically uplifting one of the sides of the planet, and they're providing them with firearms on a planet that was previously like Stone Age technology. So in order to maintain the balance, Kirk also starts supplying the other side with flintlocks, because a lot of people look at it and say, that's a violation of the Prime Directive. But, the Prime Directive is already being shattered by the Klingons. And Kirk feels that the only way, the least worst solution, is to maintain that balance so that no side gains the upper hand and that the society comes to its own resolution of its conflict. But anyway, in that episode, you have the Klingons supplying one side, the Federation supplying the other, both of which given their little indoctrinations to their philosophies. And that was really the inspiration for my Star Trek alignments concept. And the last feedback we have is from Jason, who I was just talking about, Jason from the Nerds RPG Variety Cast. Let's listen to Jason.
Hey, this is Jason from the Nerds RPG Variety Cast. Just want to say I kind of enjoyed your Star Trek alignment idea. I think that would be a fun little reveal into a game to have that turn out to be the case. And I don't see why that'd be a big deal. I think it'd be kind of a fun turn. I guess some players would get uptight about that kind of thing, but we're playing to have fun, right? As far as the theme song you have, excellent. Invokes that old Western feel, like the Shalico theme song, things like that. So I'm all for that. And the solo episodes are definitely okay. And if, you want to put out multi-hour, single episodes, solo episodes, then why not try it, and check your listener numbers and you can see if it's worth it or not. And actually, if nobody tunes into those, but they still tune into the other episodes, then you're really not hurting anything. So I would say go for it. Give it a shot. Talk to you later.
Hey, thanks for that, Jason. Thanks for liking the theme song. As you heard in my response to Sam, your podcast was a big inspiration for that. Your theme song is awesome, and I absolutely love it. Mine is intentionally bad because I know my limitations. Anyway, as for solo episodes, I think the way my life works, I have, let's backtrack a little. James and I, we both have our families and we live a million miles apart and we both have our jobs. In my case, I have 2 jobs and we both have outside interests outside of the jobs. And so that leaves our available recording time pretty much just Saturday mornings. But because I have 2 jobs, I am occasionally working on Saturday mornings. So we have to skip that week of recording. And the original intent, the original concept, it was an idea. Let's not oversell it. The original idea was to record 2 episodes every so often and, put them out that way to cover when I'm gone. We also have, we still have about 6 episodes in the can for emergency coverage when things happen. But I think what we're going to do is when I have to travel and we can't record together, rather than recording 2 episodes, I'm just going to do a solo while I'm on the road. Sound quality probably won't be the same because I won't bring my big Yeti miking and everything. I'll just bring my Zoom H1 recorder, or I'll just record it on my phone, which for a solo episode should be fine. Thanks again for the kind words. And of course, you too. I said kind words about Kevin's Redcaps podcast. I'm going to say awesome words about yours. I love your podcast. In fact, just this weekend, I was listening to the episode about the Universal horror movies. And because it wasn't directly gaming related, I thought I was just going to start it and say, yeah, okay, I'm going to skip this one. But I ended up sitting through the whole thing because I enjoyed it. And so thanks for that. Thanks for your wonderful podcast. Thanks for the feedback. And everyone, that's it for this solo episode. No original content. I'm doing air quotes. You can't see it, but I'm doing them. No original content. But like I said, I think responding to feedback is content. Now I've convinced myself of that. And again, this will be the last Monday episode unless I hear that people really want 2 episodes a week. If that were the case, I'd probably move the Wednesday episode to Thursday, put them out Monday and Thursday. Yeah. But this will probably be the last Monday episode. We'll only do the Wednesday episodes. And the next episode we have coming up is, I think, why Joe hates artwork. Yeah. So anyway, thanks again. Until next time, thanks for listening. Bye.
You have been listening to the Decahedron Podcast. Send email to feedback@decahedron.com. Remember to spell decahedron with a K. Voice feedback can be sent through the Anchor website or by calling 562-RPG-CAST. That's 562-774-2278. Links are in the show notes. Music is courtesy of Kevin MacLeod, logo by Design Cat. Thanks for listening.